Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a good day whenever and wherever you are watching this. Today, I want to share with you 5 things about nutrition that I absolutely flipping wish I knew before I was a Royal Marine Commando and before I was a full-time Team GB athlete. Now, 1 or 2 of these things are specific to me, and all will become clear in a minute, but the rest of them, and overall probably there's an element of all of them that will be beneficial to everyone. Now, there is a lot of stuff out there nutrition-wise on every social media platform, YouTube included, absolutely YouTube actually, that is very prescriptive and super kind of specific minutia details that are sold as having a massive effect on someone's health, physique, performance, longevity, whatever. Whereas these are a little bit more kind of generalized, but they're things that I believe are just, for me, have been very, very useful. And also for what I believe is for the general public has been very, very underutilized. So they're kind of known as being helpful and known as being beneficial, but maybe not as many people as they should know about them, or definitely are taking advantage of it. Getting straight into it, number 1, this is the one that I thought I'd chuck out straight away and put at the top of the list. A, because it has helped me a lot, but B, also because I want this to flipping challenge you, especially if a lot of people watching this video are people who are either preparing for or serving any part of the British Forces, especially with my background as the Royal Marines. This is something that is going to flipping trigger you straight away, because if someone had suggested this to me when I was 21, or 19 and 20 when I joined, I would have run for the hills, man. I would have had absolutely nothing to do with it, but guaranteed it is a game changer, and that is to implement some kind of fasting protocol into your plan. A couple of different options for this. The most popular and probably kind of notorious one is the 16-8. So what you do is you eat within an 8-hour window. So as an example, you might eat from midday until 8 p.m. And this is drinks included as well. So when you are fasting, you can have things like black coffee. You can but no milk, no sugar, nothing. You can have things like, black tea. Again, no milk, nothing in there. And water. And basically that's kind of it. But in an eating window, as an example, you can only eat anything between midday and say 8 p.m. And then you don't eat anything from 8 p.m. all the way until midday the next day. So you have an 8-hour eating window and a 16-hour fasting window. That's the most common kind of approach. The man, the myth, the legend that is Ben Greenfield does it in a slightly different way. So what he does is he makes sure that he has minimum of 12 hours. So if he finishes dinner at 9 p.m. one night, he won't eat before 9 a.m. the next day. So he had to make sure that he has a minimum of 12 hours of fasting. I'll kind of get onto the benefits of this in a second. Minimum of 12-hour fasting, and once a week what he does is he has a 24-hour fast. So he might finish dinner, might have an early dinner on Saturday that finishes at 7 p.m. and then he doesn't eat until 7 p.m. on Sunday the next day. So he has a full 24-hour fast. He does that once a week, I think that's what he said in the book. So we've got a couple of different ways of doing it, and just have a quick cheeky Google. But basically, guys, the benefits are this. Imagine your body has like a to-do list of things that it's got to do. And again, for anyone prepping for the forces, or for a CrossFitter or a functional fitness athlete, or for kind of recreational bodybuilder, or anyone really, or anyone that just wants to, kind of improve cognition and biohack a little bit. There's a to-do list of things that your body's got. It's got kill off that cancerous cell. It's got repair damaged muscle tissue from your session. It's got, process something to do with your organs. It's got fight off that viral infection. It's got a to-do list, right? Like a maintenance list for the human body. As soon as you eat, digest food goes straight to the top of the list, and everything else gets put on the back burner. So it's only in a fasted state that our body's like, right, okay, so we've done the food stuff. Now we actually get to crack on with fixing all the other things physiologically that we need to fix. And that's why it's so important. I prefer, as it's kind of the 2 different fasting protocols I've given you, kind of once every couple of months I do a 24-hour fast, but I feel so good doing kind of 16-8. Mine's closer to 15-9. It seems to be from kind of midday till 9 p.m. Just that extra hour seems to allow me to kind of fit in another meal, and it's game changing for me. But it's still a good amount. Any kind of fasting benefit normally happens after about 12 hours, I think. So that's number 1. So again, especially if you're watching this and you're prepping for the forces, don't think, oh yeah, well, I'm not going to be able to do that when I'm in, so there's no point doing it now. That shouldn't be anyone's attitude on any of these things, nutrition, training, anything. Because by that logic, you're like, well, I might have to survive in the field only sleeping 1 hour that night, so I'm just going to only sleep an hour a night. It's like, yeah, good job, you'll be dead in 3 weeks. So that's probably not a great approach to have. You are going to have to get used to that, but don't worry about now. The best thing you can do now to prep is just put yourself in the best possible position. And I genuinely believe that some kind of fasting protocol will do that. So that's the most triggering one. The rest of them are a little bit easier. Number 2, get tested. I do not mean at your local clinic. There are a couple of different things and testing protocols that can help you guys learn a little bit more about the way that your bodies work and about the kind of things that your bodies need. The first one is with a company called DNA Fit, and what they do is it's like a little saliva swab, send it off, they send you back loads and loads and loads of data, and that data can include things. So basically it's done in your DNA, hence the name. So it's the test that doesn't need regularly updating. You don't need to do it once a year. Once it's done because it's based on your genetics, and that's not going to change. So it's great. So you only ever have to pay for this thing once, and the results that you get back are permanent. And it will give you information such as, this is the kind of diet type, either low carb, low fat, or like a Mediterranean style diet. One of those 3 diets, I think, is the metrics they use at the moment. This is the kind of diet type that your body will respond best to permanently, right? So again, you might not have that luxury in military training, you might not have that luxury if you're an athlete and you're kind of on the road, but having that as an indicator overall, it's always good to have that data to kind of at the very least steer you in the right direction. It will also give you information such as you have a kind of a part of your genetic code that suggests that you're not very good at absorbing B vitamins out of your gut. So you've got a higher need. Basically, you just need to put more in. So you need more B vitamins. So that's something you should supplement properly and more regularly. So again, that's good data to have. So it might be that you're fine with other vitamins, but B vitamins you're not, or omega-3. So you might not have a very good ability to absorb omega-3. So you'd have a higher need for those generally. So that's like 2 or 3 examples of about 16 to bloody 20 different metrics of things that this DNA Fit, that this kind of what's called nutrigenetic profile gives you. So that's the first part of getting tested. The second part of getting tested is this. I advise a lot of people, whenever I'm a guest on a podcast, of which I have been for about kind of 8 times now, pretty much every single time the question comes up of, if there's one thing that you could tell the general public to do to improve their kind of fitness, health and longevity, what would it be? And it is get an intolerance test. So you might be eating foods that are quote unquote healthy for the general public, but for some reason there's a part of your gut, your microbiome, which is its own little ecosystem in your digestive system, are just really, really bad for you. So you might be really, really, really bad to broccoli, and every time you have broccoli, it might not make you feel anything. This is the danger. Some of these things you might be completely asymptomatic to, but it might, compromise your immune system. It might compromise your muscular recovery. So you are a crapper, worse quality athlete, and you're getting worse quality sleep, and you're getting worse quality recovery because you are eating things that you think are healthy, but they're not for you. And luckily now we exist in a time where we don't have to do 1,000,001 different things to find out what these things are and remove food groups and reintroduce and blah, blah, blah. You can just take a flipping test, and these things are so cheap. They're like between 30 and 40 quid. So there's a couple of different companies that do them. I've gone with a company called Check My Body Health. That's one of a ton. Just put it into Google. 100% these things are absolutely game changing, and again, they will give you an indicator as to what your body's doing and what your body wants, and any data and clarity that anyone can get on those subjects are super, super, super important. So number 1, fasting, and number 2, get tested. I believe, well, they've definitely helped me, but I believe they can absolutely help everyone. Number 3, it's a little bit more specific to me and my body type, but I know a lot of fit and healthy and active people that have started doing this, and it helps a hell of a lot. And that is carb backloading. So this is this idea that you don't have a massive amount of carbohydrates through the course of the day. What you do is you're kind of gone into a little bit of like semi-ketosis. So I break my fast at midday with some like eggs, some veg, an avocado, maybe some nuts and some bone broth, because I'm a primal caveman like that. And then I actually don't really have any carbohydrates until after my session, my training session of the day, which is about 6 p.m. And then I have some nice starchy carbs in the form of, I don't know, like carrots, sweet potato, having a lot of butternut squash at the moment in my evening meal. So that idea that you don't really have any carbs, any of your allotted kind of carbohydrate intake through the day, but you have a lot of it in the evening to replenish, it really helps me. And one of the reasons for that is this: one of the physiological reactions of having carbohydrates is a release of what's called melatonin, which is sleep hormone. So if that's the case, if what your body does when you give it something is produce a hormone that makes you want to go to sleep, that's kind of a good indicator that we shouldn't really be having it till the night time. So that's just my kind of opinion. And this, again, is something that I was very, very resistant to doing. And all of these things, guys, I'm 33 now. I only discovered this stuff when I was about 30. This is why I'm making this video of stuff that I genuinely wish I knew kind of back in the day when I was a youngster. And it's been game-changing for me, carb backloading. It really has. I don't feel constant. My energy through the day is so much better. My cognition through the day is so much better. I'm not on this kind of constant blood sugar flipping roller coaster. Everything's fine, and then I kind of have my big chunk of carbs post-training, kind of 6 p.m. and then in my evening meal about 7:30, and it's helped me a lot. Number 4, supplement properly. My supplement cupboard is pretty extensive. I've got some plant-based protein in there, a couple of different brands. I've got a multivitamin. I've got some digestive enzymes, which is something I got recently. I've got some CBD oil. I've got vitamin D because of my DNA Fit profile. It said that I absolutely need to supplement vitamin D, so I've got some of that stuff. Creatine I'm a big fan of. Take 5 grams of this stuff every single day. And some BCAAs that I have about 5 grams of necked in a shot about 20 minutes before training. And then I have another kind of 5 grams mixed and drunk intra-workout. So I'm just kind of having that throughout the course of my workout. All of this stuff, again, I know it sounds stupid and it sounds cliche, but the purpose of supplements is to bolt on to an already good existing diet. If you are smashing crappy takeaways and loads of calorie dense but not nutrient dense food, this stuff might plug a little bit of a hole and give you a little bit more energy, but overall it is not going to do an awful lot. So the whole purpose of these supplements is to have a good strong diet and then just bolt these things on the end just to kind of fill in the gaps. Guys, moving on to the 5th and final one, we are now at number 5 of my 5 top tips, and that is this: mix it up. This is both for supplements and with foods. So many people I know, and I have this conversation with my clients a lot. As an example, let's take vegetables as an example. Some people like 4 or 5 vegetables, so they buy the same 4 or 5 vegetables every flipping week when they go shopping, every week of the year, and they do that for ages. They do that for absolutely ages. And that's great. You might get all of the stuff that you need, or you might be getting all of the vitamins and minerals from those vegetables. Considering the profile of everything that we need nutritionally is pretty broad, it means that you're just tripling down on those very, very, very few ingredients. Whereas something I like to do, so I get all of my vegetables from a place called Tablehurst Farm, which is a local farmer's market quite close to me. Really, really good organic biodynamic stuff, like proper top end. Very, very lucky to live just a couple of miles away from that place. And every single time I go, I try to buy one vegetable that I haven't had that month. So and this is like every week that I go. So what that does is it varies the intake of my vegetables. And I try to do this with my meats, with my fish, and with my supplements as well. So as an example, I don't like whey protein. It just doesn't respond very well with my body. So what I have things like marine collagen and bovine collagen. So those are my animal-based kind of proteins to bolster it up. But I have a lot of vegan protein because my body does respond well to that. So what I do is I mix up, and I've always got a couple of different brands in the cupboard, and I might take one for 4 days in a row and then change to another one. And what that does is it just diversifies everything that's going on in your digestive system and diversifies everything going on in your gut. So your microbiome, which is like this collective of it's its own little planet down there, man. It's this crazy world of however many billion, trillion bacteria. I don't know what's going on down there. Nobody does. What it does is it basically diversifies that as much as possible, and that's a good thing, and that's what you want to do. You don't want to get into a stage where you're only having the same 8 ingredients every week for the rest of your life. That's not a very, very good way to do things, because you won't end up with an immune system that's properly functioning. You won't end up absorbing, or you won't end up putting in your body enough kind of content, enough diversified range of ingredients to get all the vitamins and minerals and everything that you need. And even if you're taking a good quality multivitamin, that's not gonna kind of paint over this. I would say 100% you need to mix up your supplements and mix up all your other foods as well. There we go, guys. Hope, as always, you did enjoy it. Please do smash that like button. It really does help build the channel and gives me a little bit of an ego boost as well. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you do subscribe. Lots of great content on the way, specifically for, at the moment, CrossFitters, functional fitness athletes, for anyone who's prepping for or serving in the military, and for any recreational bodybuilders. All of this stuff is exactly designed for you. Hope you have a great day, guys, and see you for the next one. Peace!